Hi everyone, I'm super excited to host Kenon Chen, Executive Vice President, Strategy and Growth at Clear Capital. Thanks a lot for being on the show.
Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Kenan, take us back to your college days and till this date. What would be your top three career highlights?
Oh, wow. Well, I got to survive, if you will, the dot-com boom and crash in San Francisco. I think that whole process of, being involved with startups and seeing a number of things that failed, I'd say is a career highlight because I learned so much about what I didn't want to do. So I learned that I didn't want to, build technology for the sake of just generating clicks. So that's kind of one thing. Another highlight, I'm certainly very proud of the work we've done at Clear Capital, seeing that grow from a startup to the company that it is, and being a part of an amazing team there, I would say is pretty big. And then I think lastly, I would say career highlight wise, just my own, personal trajectory as trying to get better, as being a leader, and starting as a technologist, moving to product, and now being involved in strategy and working with the rest of the industry. The part that I keep working on, so maybe it's not a highlight because I'm still working on it, is the people part, right? How do you continue to get better at making others successful?
Any mentors or advisor you want to give a shout out to in the journey?
There's been some really great, people and mentors. Uh, I think that, one of the shout outs I'll maybe even give is like right now, I have a number of folks that are just friends, in the industry right now, and that give of their time and energy to just, brainstorm on ways to make the industry better, right? Regardless of any personal gain or whether it's going to work out with a business relationship. Or kind of a tight group of innovators that work across, they're in a number of different companies and things. And I get a ton of inspiration from them every day. I'll shout out to my real estate rebels, folks.
That's amazing. And just for the people listening or watching, Kinan stayed and he's currently at Clear Capital more than 22 years. So it's pretty long journey. And can you maybe share in the early days when you joined Clear Capital, what was their offering? If there are any stories of pivot or how the journey has evolved with time.
Yeah, well, when I first met Dwayne, our CEO, he had the idea for RENetwork.com, which was a site that connects real estate brokers all over the country that know how to handle bank-owned listings, and connects them with asset managers and other folks looking to list properties. And when Clear Capital first started, it was really focused a lot on providing broker price opinions done by these expert real estate brokers around the country. And it quickly evolved from more than just human-based valuations, but also getting data and analytics involved, and looking at ways to provide more automated, um, understanding of properties, and, to it just evolved over time to now, we have, not only valuations, but data analytics nationally, technology. We're very involved in automating underwriting properties, and so we stay focused on the property itself and providing confidence in the quality of the property as it's used, as collateral. But how we do it and all the different ways, and kind of, from fully automated to human based, is grown quite a bit. So it's been a fun journey to kind of start narrow and keep expanding out.
What were some experiments that didn't work out? Things you learned the hard way?
I think one of the things I learned the hard way, especially as being that I suck at being someone else. So I think earlier on in my career, I really tried to manage by emulating other people, saying, "Oh, okay, if I can manage that way, then everyone will see that I'm doing it the right way. And then therefore, you know, they'll trust me and everything will be okay." But what I learned is that I wasn't being authentic. I wasn't like bringing my authentic self into the workplace, and I'm really good at being myself. I'm terrible at trying to be other people.
Mm.
And so, it just kind of started with like a realization that, that I, for all the strengths and weaknesses that I have, I at least have to start with being authentic and then try to get better. And it was a hard lesson to learn, honestly, because, there's, made a bunch of mistakes and things like that. And I'm still on that path, still on that journey. I think the other thing is like, from a product and technology standpoint, I think, not falling in love with the product, not falling in love, with the solution, but instead learning how to fall in love with the understanding of the problem, right, that our customers are facing and that the market needs. And it's hard, right? Because when you create something super cool and it's using great technology and it has all these great features and functionality, it's really easy to like fall in love with your own creation, But and so certainly we've had products that like it didn't do that great, but kept at it because we really love the product. But I think what we're learning and what I'm learning is to get even better at identifying that we solve that and lean into innovative ways.
I'm just wondering, like, if we were to start again, a person who wants to become in a role as you, what would be the guidelines or playbook on developing skills you would recommend on developing that knowledge?
I mean, that's kind of the funny thing is like it's hard to really control the path that you're going to go down, right? Like one thing leads to another. And so as much as, I'd love to map it all out and control what's going to happen next, like, a lot of things are just kind of curveballs, right? Kind of thrown at me. So I think though, what I would tell myself, younger self is, one, I would keep encouraging more curiosity, right? Really understanding the why project. And then I would say that learning the skill set of influence or managing without authority. I think when I first did my like project management training back however long ago, I did my PMP, training. You learn a lot about managing without authority. That's not just for project management. That's like almost like in every area of your life, right? You have to work with people that you don't get to tell them what to do. Somehow you need to communicate the importance of aligning around a a shared vision or aligning around a shared objective that's more important than any of us individually. And and then, helping people understand how to work together to get there. That applies to every area, I think, yeah, that skill set of managing without authority.
And I was looking at Clear Capital's website, and you have Property Nova and various features. So would you like walk us through like a bit detailing like what are the offerings, solutions?
Yeah. So, for us, it starts with a understanding of all U.S. properties. You know, um, you know, uh, it starts with having great data that allows us to understand the characteristics, condition, place in the market for every property in the United States. On top of that layer of property data, we uh, can then build upon that really accurate analytics. So, things like you're hovering over a clear AVM right now, rental AVM, you know, um, using supervised learning with great property data to create models that are really accurate at predicting the value of a property, instantly. Um, that is, a big part of what we do because if you can accurately predict a property value in real time, not only can you enable people to have earlier certainty, right, as the decisions that they want to make about a particular property, whether that's um, a lender with an existing book of business that they're trying to understand who should I talk to next, about whether it's the right time for them to get a home equity loan. Um, uh, so they know already with an accurate way of understanding value when to reach out to people, but also how to help them, right, as they get into different stages of deciding to get a loan. Um, but also this helps with, analytics that you can then infuse into the loan underwriting process, where you need to understand if the value you're looking at is accurate and whether it supports the loan. So yeah, so a lot of different analytics there. And then, and then that flows into the fact that we can also do waterfalls, if you will, into us putting boots on the ground, actually sending someone to a property to understand property condition, to perform an appraisal, all these things. We can help folks have kind of a risk-based approach so that they have the most cost efficient, fastest way to arrive at confidence in the value of a property, by using a kind of our full suite of products. So that's really what you'll see on the site under solutions. You'll see, ways that we can help these different market segments get confident about properties through a number of different methods that all kind of work together, to enable confident decisions. So
I'm just amazed by the amount of solutions and the vast market you're serving. What would be like, in terms of the journey, the most technically challenging thing to crack in this market? What were the main areas?
I mean, right now, it's always a combination of not just technically challenging, but is it is your technical solution in compliance with what what our clients can use and will be accepted by their primary stakeholders, right? So um, we might have a great solution, but if there isn't acceptance of that solution in the market, not only by our direct clients, but also by the people that they need to work with to sell loans to or get approvals from, then that's a challenge, right? I mean, I think our pace of innovation can surpass and what will be accepted and able to be utilized, right, within the market. So one of those things that we really looked at solving was, that came out during COVID. Um, during the pandemic was, what do you do if you can't gain access to a property physically? And yet you still need that information, the property's condition, characteristics, and things. You still need to know that in order to put a value on that home. And so a lot of the work we did from a technology standpoint is how do we figure out how to bring the home to the desk instead of sending someone out to the home? And tried everything, right? Tried a lot of the different fancy, cameras out there, 360-degree cameras um, uh, and things like that. And the problem is that none of them really scaled, right? Like if you think about like we were going to buy an expensive camera for every single person in every state that needs to go visit a home. And then what if you can't send someone to the home? What if you have to rely on the homeowner to provide that data? Are you going to drop ship them a camera to attach you know, to their phone? It just wasn't going to work. So, we discovered this amazing technology called Kubikasa, which originally came out of Finland. And we ended up acquiring the company in 2021. But they had solved the problem of, enabling, the phone that's in your pocket or phone you have, whether it's iPhone or Android, that phone being all you need to walk around the house in 5 minutes, capture the home, generate a accurate floor plan and an accurate understanding of the characteristics of the home, the gross living area, square footage, bedroom, bathroom, etc. And now we have a digital way of bringing the home to the desk and then using, right, the rest of the data that we have can form a much better, more confident understanding of what's going on at that property. And yeah, I mean that's one of those fun sort of breakthrough, moments of like, wait a minute, if we can bring the home to the desk, uh, that reduces friction, right? For so many people. And what happens that floor plans really help home buyers and home shoppers understand the home better to make a decision for their family, right? So there's this now growing increase of getting floor plans on the listings, real estate listings, so people can see if the home works for them. So that's been super cool, to see as well.
That's a great story. Any tips for founders who are listening to who are targeting to sell solutions in real estate market? It's difficult to find customers, the sales cycles could be tricky. So any tips?
Well, I love working with prop tech founders, especially founders in the space, right? Real estate prop tech and fintech. And man, there's a lot of amazing talent and ideas. And like there's no shortage of great ideas, right? we have way more ideas than we ever. So what I would say, maybe one one example of advice is, I think early on, try to cover off your blind spots, right? Like, especially in a highly regulated industry like ours, sometimes I think people wait too long to understand the constraints of what is allowed and what might be easy to adopt. And so getting that, relationships in what could be blind spot areas, like, understanding policy, housing policy, who can get you that information, understanding, regulatory hurdles, understanding, what the investor community is comfortable with, and rating agencies, things like that. Like, those are the things I think that can really slow down adoption of a really cool idea. But if you can build that in early, then you can remove some of that friction, at the beginning of the process.
How does a week in your life look like
A week in,
professionally? Yeah, yeah.
well, that's a good question. I mean, I'm on the road, quite a bit. So it's a good mix of like working with internal teams. So the growth teams that I get to work with are product partnerships, marketing, and sales. So it can really bounce around quite a bit between ideation and, where we're going to go next, roadmap wise, to, how do we build the right relationships in the industry to facilitate bringing solutions to our clients right where they are. What's the right way to talk about it and communicate about it? I also get to work pretty often with folks in housing policy and government agencies and folks like that too, that have an understanding of what's going on there. So yeah, it's never boring. Every day it could be a different thing. And then yeah, and then like as I'm on the, so next week I'll be attending a conference and interacting with people there. So yeah, it's always fun and different things going on.
How do you do quarterly planning when you have so many different departments?
Yeah, I mean, we actually just got finished kind of rolling out our yearly plans, and that was a ton of fun, kind of rolling out our goals and all that. So yeah, and we tend to set annual goals, and then we set up quarterly kind of checkpoints. We get a lot more prescriptive in the first half of the year is what we're going to do, and in the second half we leave a little more flexible so that we understand what the market's doing and what progress we're making. And usually halfway through the year we kind of make a concerted effort to see, like, should we stay the course? Should we change direction? Should we bring in other new things? So um, yeah, it's yeah, we look at things quarterly, but really, like, daily, weekly, monthly, looking at progress, and then the quarterly milestones are good opportunities to kind of reset a little bit.
Any top, like, what would be the top three conferences for people in prop tech, real estate tech you recommend to attend?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of good ones that I probably don't even go to, but one of my favorites is Blueprint. Happens in Vegas in the fall, and I like it because I like bringing together both kind of the built world people and residential, commercial, but also some of the finance aspects too, like bringing that into. I think that's always super interesting. You also get the VC community in there too, looking for new ideas. So you get a lot of good, people ready, like people that are in pitch mode and kind of ready to show off what they're working on. No, another one that's really great is Housing Wire, the gathering, both real estate and mortgage together. Like, so real estate leaders and mortgage leaders together. And like, I always find it's really interesting, the bridge, the connection between, real estate and the mortgage. There's that space where it's like, how do you turn a great sort of, real estate shopping experience also into like a frictionless, transition over into your financing and that process. And I love it when those two groups are together in the same room because they end up talking about things that they might not have if they're just within their own respective groups. So that's fun too.
What are some problems in real estate or property tech which you wish there were more solutions in the market?
Well, I think that it's still one of the top most important things to solve is just how long it takes to get a loan, and how much it costs. I think we're still at a place where the cost to originate a loan is, over $10,000, and it still takes, longer than 30 days, 30 to 45 days. And the thing we haven't figured out yet is how to have how to have certainty that the loan can happen at the speed of life, that when someone actually wants to move or when they're, ready to go or, and so I think there's still just a lot of friction in the process um, that's hard for borrowers to navigate. Of course, they don't do this a lot of times in their life. So yeah, so I think for us, like if we can remove at least the friction out of the collateral part of that, out of the appraisal, that's our goal, right? Remove much of that friction as possible, so that there's certainty about the value of the home as close to the time that someone's trying to make a purchase offer as possible. Is the offer I'm about to make on this property what I want to pay for it that I think I need to offer in order to get the property? Is that going to be supported by the true value of the home so that it won't stop me from getting finance? That's worth solving, right? Because like today, you make your purchase contract and you have to wait, right? Is the appraisal going to come in at value or not? That's just adding more stress to the situation. And so, we've been super excited to partner with like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac on some of those types of solutions on, inspection based waivers where, there's the confidence that the value is good to go, and we just need to very quickly get the property data collection done within a couple days. That reduces that stress. It provides more certainty. It reduces the cost of the appraisal. We've done more of those than anyone else in the industry and saved borrowers millions of dollars. Through yeah. So we like being a part of it, but we've still a ways to go to make the mortgage process a little more seamless. And
Got it. I want to wrap up the interview with a rapid fire. You have less than 5 seconds to answer, and you have to keep it super brief. Your favorite restaurant?
any seafood restaurant with, fresh crab. Old Ebbitt's Grill in Washington, D.C.
Got it. A city or country which is in your travel bucket list?
Ooh, I'd really love to go to Asia, specifically to visit like Hong Kong, and Japan has been on my bucket list for,
Any book which made a big impact in your life?
it's been a lot, but Good to Great is one that's really kind of stuck, at least business wise, that's stuck out for me. And yeah, I'm currently reading a book on brand called Building a Story, and that's been really great so far.
Your role model?
That's a good one. I mean, certainly my parents over the years, but like,
Yeah, no worries.
uh,
3 words your best friend would describe you as.
hopefully, kind, strange. It's like quirky, funny. Yeah, I don't know. Patient.
Anything which we didn't cover in this interview and you'd like to end on that closing note?
No, I thank you very much, for the time to talk. It's kind of fun to kind of reflect a little bit on the journey. So no, I just really appreciate the opportunity.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.